our corporate lives. They have not replaced the service lines. Still, they've only replaced about 90% of the service lines. And they never replaced residents' interior plumbing inside their home. So there is still water going through badly damaged, corroded pipes and leaching lead and other heavy metals. And there is still issues with bacteria in the water. This is Claire McClinton. She is one of the most active, consistent water warriors in Flint and has been fighting for 10 years.
We want the culprits and the players to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law for the harm they've caused our city, the deaths they ignored, the long-term illnesses in which we still live with, the indignity that your government poisoned you and your government won't fix it. It's indignity, attack on humanity, the highest water rates in the nation. We can't deal with that no more. So we're gonna all have to ratchet up our game. We're gonna have to ratchet up our unity. We're gonna have to be Flint. We're gonna have to be Flint Stones. We are Flint Stones. We have big hearts. We have courage. We have a strong sense of social justice.
And I talked to you last year at the 9-year anniversary, 10 years. You put this together today. I think,
and some other great community people.
Yeah, and you helped co-found Democracy Defense.
Yes.
And I want to ask you, last year you said in some ways it's even worse than it was in 2016. Has anything changed since we spoke last year?
No, it hasn't. And what I said last year, I'm saying this year. The 10 years, looking back, is in a way it's worse because when this started, you anticipated that your government would step in and do the right thing and take care of the people. Now, we know our government is, we have to stay on them and stuff, but we never could imagine that they would turn their back on this city like they have done. And like I say, that December was a Merry Christmas, case of slam closed. And talking about it's probably nothing we can do, that's the end. And then had the nerve to try to blame the Supreme Court and make Dana Nessel, you blame the Supreme Court and you tried to make yourself a victim. We're the victims. Don't blame the Supreme Court and look and act like you was mistreated by the Supreme Court. You were either incompetent or treacherous, and we don't know which, but we're not going to accept either way.
It's really important what you're saying, because you hear so much from politicians and even the media. No one is above the law, and we won't have two systems of justice. Mm-hmm. But frankly, a bunch of wealthy white people like Governor Snyder, who had plenty of money paid for by the taxpayers, by the way. You guys paid for his legal bills. It seems that there is two systems of justice. If they could poison a city and 10 years later they're still free.
Yes, and that double standard goes not only to the loss of justice, no one held accountable, but it goes to other things. The double standard goes to the reason why we pay among the highest water rates in the country, because we're paying bondholders. And since this whole unfortunate event came about, the city of Flint has not missed one bond payment after that was agreed to. They haven't missed a payment to the bond market. But right now we're hearing on the grapevine there might be an effort afoot to raise the water rates. You shut people's water off, they lose their home. How you gonna make that money back? you're putting your water fund in a deficit because you don't want to work with people. And as it relates to water, and so many testified to it today, as it relates to water, it shouldn't even be a cost. It should not be a cost that someone can't have access to it, even if some people have it for free.
As you know, there's so many other communities that have water problems, air pollution, so many environmental issues. What's your message to them? Maybe, you know, it's early on in their situation. Maybe it's just starting first year or two, and their government's telling them everything's fine. Their media's not covering it. What's your message to other people dealing with similar things?
The message to them is the same message we got to ourselves. This is election year. Take your grievances to all them people that say they want to represent you, from the White House all the way down. I don't care if it's dog catcher. Pull together as a community, get organized, and take your grievances to these people who claim they want to speak for you. This is the time for them to escalate their concerns.
Thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you.
10 years ago, the flip of a switch to save a few dollars changed the lives of everyone in our community. And it's been a literal roller coaster ride for everyone in this city ever since.
Yes.
I was 6 years old when they changed the water. Almost immediately at my house, we started getting rashes. My little sister's rashes resembled chemical burns. To this day, you can still see the remnants of an eczema patch on my face that will not go away no matter what we do. The water just didn't taste or smell right. All around the city, people could see with their own eyes that the water was bad. I was 8 when the lie that the water was safe was finally exposed. And like everyone else in the community, we had to learn almost overnight what life was like without access to safe drinking water. But I don't need to go into details about what life was like during the crisis. That has been well documented. Flint was on track for being the blueprint of how to handle a water crisis, but the only thing that serves as the blueprint for the others now is how our community came together to save ourselves. As far as the way public officials and leaders go, the way you guys behave here serves as a cautionary tale to everyone of how not to act when faced with a crisis.
That's true.
10 years later, and it breaks my heart to say, the water crisis is still not over, and I have no idea if it will ever be over, like when it will be over.
Great job. Great job.
So that's Mary Copany, a.k.a. Little Miss Flint. I believe I interviewed her when she was 8 years old. She's now 16. This is Jolina Freeman.
Hi, everybody.
She's in our documentary.
My name is Jolina Freeman. Most everybody calls me JoJo. And I'm a Flint resident. And my kids have grown up in Flint here, and they have all been affected by this water that's still not safe to drink. And it's caused a lot of strife in our family, and just like probably everybody else here. And, you know, I have kids who've got behavioral issues. I have a son who's gone to prison for the rest of his life. And I have a son who's depressed. And I have a daughter who breaks out every time she takes a shower. And I'm just sick of the water crisis.
Thank you. Okay, Jolina. Thank you.
I founded an organization called Veterans Are Now here in the city of Flint, primary to assist and help veterans. But it was during the water crisis, so the organization, by way of that, ended up servicing over 10,000 residents, well over 10,000 residents and hundreds of veterans. At that particular time, there were many, many veterans that wanted to take action, not just talk, but put boots in faces because of what was going on. And I'm still of that energy, because 10 years is way too long to not get anything, to not do it. Nobody's been prosecuted. No, nothing has happened. What is it that we plan on getting by keep on talking, marching, and just talking and marching? What? So whenever anybody's ready to do beyond just talking, I'm for all that. And I'm saying it live in front of everybody, in front of the mirror and everybody, because You're poisonous. 10 times worse than toxic waste? What kind of stuff is that? When do you fight? When do you actually put hands to the pavement and get stuff done? Why are we still marching? What kind of stuff is that? So that's just me. That's my energy. And whatever those actions equate to, I'm willing.
So it's hypocrisy. So socially economic disadvantaged people, because we can't just say it's a black thing, can't say it's a white thing. It's an economic class thing, in my opinion. And it also is like a foot on the neck of what created the middle class. It's like those that are in a certain power structure, that are legacy money, that are corporate oligarchs, they want to see a place like Flint die, because this is the mother of the unions. This is the home of the Industrial Revolution.
Home of the sit-down strike.
Home of the sit-down strike. But also, when you think about this, is the Silicon Valley of the industrial age. So General Motors was founded here. The UAW, you remember Ted Koppel and Peter Jennings? Anytime I would hear them talk about the world shutting down, it was the local 599 or some local from Flint, Michigan was shutting the world down in order for people to have better equality when it comes to their work, with the work ethics and with the quality work that they were given. So to me, it's just the destruction of, or the finalization of the destruction of a certain mentality that this country has had. And we just happen to be here and alive during this time. And also, when you think about a military way of destroying a system, you do it with the economics, you do it with the water resources, you do it with the food, you take all the logistical things out in order to get people to move away, in order to get people to die off, in order to get people to become drawn away from wanting to fight or being strong. But
and I just want to say, since the water switch, the population here has gone down by 20,000.
It's dwindled very much so. Dwindled very much so. You know, and the white flight didn't do it all. So what else had to happen in order to be able to change the mentality and change the direction and to truly gentrify a community like this? You have to take military structures or tactics in order to restructure what you want. That's my opinion. But it feels like that. It feels like something that goes on to other places, and it's just happening here in our country, in Flint, Michigan, one of the greatest cities ever created in this country. Right. Because it is the reason why we have a middle class. We are the big brother. We are the big homie. We are the mother. Detroit didn't start General Motors. They just prospered even more. Pontiac didn't do it. Saginaw didn't do it. You know, Grand Rapids, none of those places. Flint, Michigan. So when you deny and you ignore and you say that, well, it's those people over there, guess what's going to happen to you next? Whatever you think is strong and keeps you uplifted, it's going to be destroyed the same way. Because cancer doesn't pick and choose. Cancer just grows and it spreads and it kills. And this is a cancer. And this water cancer, it was in Lansing. It's in Benton Harbor. It's in multiple places. It's in Mississippi. There's so many places. So this cancer is spreading all over the place. And since we couldn't get it controlled here and get some kind of resolution here, what do you think it's going to do in other places? A place like Flint, where the union was the strongest thing we had, we barely have that. 10 years fighting for something as simplistic as water. That shows me, if it doesn't show anybody else, how far our country has fallen when it comes to what we plan on, what our goals are, what we want to do, how we want to help. Because money is only going to take care of so much stuff. But the collective thought and unity, that's the other part of it. Right. It turns into acceptable loss. To where, okay, it's just this one young lady that or a couple of them, or maybe 500 out of 15,000 that are getting sick. That's acceptable loss. We don't worry about that. Okay, Flint has a water issue. That's 100,000 people out of 600,000 people in the county. Well, that's an acceptable loss because we're trying to turn into a 15-minute community anyway. So this is just going to help our agenda. Who are the people that are benefiting from this? Who owns the diamond mines and who owns the oil wells in Africa and other countries to do these things? Corporations, old money, people that have legacy wealth that don't understand or know what it feels like or means to pay a rent, to pay a mortgage, to pay anything that is average. They don't know what a gallon of milk costs, or what eggs cost, or what butter costs. They don't understand that. They just have a convenience. They have a sense of empathy, but those empathies are misguided based on the bottom line. And the bottom line has to change, because it has to be combined with the community efforts and with the community growing along with what it is your bottom line is. So I don't know if I'm making sense right now. I know I'm making sense. I don't know if I'm going in the direction that you want to.
You're making plenty of sense.
So we have to fight in a stair-step manner. It's just like if your first offense, you may not go straight to jail. You might get a slap on the hand and get told to get it right. So we've already slapped them on the hand for 9-10 years. The slap on the hand has happened. Like, get it right, get it right, get it right. How many? We have to step up. At some point, somebody has to be prosecuted. At some point, somebody has to go to jail. At some point, somebody has to be in the electric chair. And I'm using those terms because that's the system in which we have when it comes to law. If that doesn't happen in every aspect, Flint has been known, and it has been said that it's a city that the political people don't go to jail. They don't have any prosecution, from the judges to the politicians. They don't have to worry about anything because it's such a small and tight-knitted situation to where everybody, like, we know what's going on over here. We know what's going on. As long as we stick together, then ignore everybody else. The hidden hand.